All right, we'll go ahead and get started, and anyone can continue to join on. No worries if you're a few minutes late. So today we're going to discuss photo documentation and the risk management role, the role it will play in risk management in construction. And before I continue, I just want to make sure that everyone can hear me. If not, please say something. Otherwise, I will go ahead and continue on, and I will show my screen so I can display the PowerPoint that I have for today. So if you cannot see the screen, it should be displaying a PowerPoint slide that shows FotoIN and how photo documentation is important to risk management and construction. I will give everyone a few seconds to raise their hands if they can't see it so that I can address it. All right, so if you can see it, I'll go ahead and continue. So photo documentation is extremely important to risk management and construction. So the cost drivers when it comes to risk management is the frequency of these risks and the severity of them. There's going to be several options to, lessen the risk on job sites. So obviously eliminate, don't do it. There's going to be preventions for those risks, taking as many precautionary measures as you can. For mitigation, lessen the frequency, you're going to lessen the severity and transferring that risk. And who are the people involved in risk management? You're going to have several different types of individuals that are going to be involved. Pretty much everyone within the company, as well as the government. You have OSHA and standards like that you need to take into consideration. You're going to have legal teams if there are legal disputes that are going on. You're going to have several different players when it comes to risk management in construction. So if we continue on, the sources of these risks and these costs, you're going to have safety. There's workers' comp, there's injuries. There's going to be costs associated with injuries that are on the job site. You'll have medical fees to pay, etc. Damages for weather and defects. You're going to have rain, you're going to have wind. If there's damages, you're going to have costs associated with fixing those damages. If there are legal disputes that are taken, you're going to have fees associated with the penalties. You're going to have fees associated with the action taken with the lawyers there. And over here on the slide, there are a few statistics that are shown. I want to just call out a few of the important ones. Every year, there's over 24,000 injuries simply due to just falls and from stairs and ladders. These sorts of injuries can be prevented by, several different measures, but photo documentation is one of the most important ones that we can address, especially today in this session. And you'll see that the cost associated with these injuries is around $27,000 per injury. And that, as it adds up, it's going to be a lot of money. But photo documentation can help you note this and help you prevent these costs from building up. So why photo documentation? The brain processes visuals 60,000 times faster than text. So I'm going to show you two different visuals. This one is just a ton of words. You're going to see all of this, and it's going to try and read it. You're going to try and process it, but you're not going to be able to really fully understand and to process every single aspect of this paragraph like you would this next visual. Everything in this paragraph you can find in this visual, and it's a lot easier to process. And with FotoIN, we also have the annotation tool, so you can call out certain things in the photo to really draw attention to the important aspects when you're out on site. So we have several different use cases for photo documentation and construction. You can document as-built conditions, so you can track the progress. You can let people know this week XYZ was taking place. What are the action steps for next week? What did we fall behind on? What are we ahead of schedule on? Photo documentation is going to allow you to capture that and capture more information and share it with others faster than you would writing it down. You're going to have quality control. You have safety management. You're going to go through those safety walks. You're going to capture you can capture certain aspects of good behavior, so you can use it later on in safety presentations. You can capture errors that were made so that you can make sure they don't happen again, prevent those risks from happening. You can report progress to the owners, so let them know that their project that you're working on is on schedule. You can show them exactly what's being built. Those kind of ties into the documenting as-built conditions. Just daily reporting, auditing trail, these reports, photo documentation is so important for these reports to be able to show visual proof of what's going on that job site. We also have other reports such as RFIs, punch lists, change orders. Requests for information are very important because you can lay out in words what you want, but a visual is going to be so much more impactful to show that individual exactly what you're talking about, call out the important aspects within that photo so they can get exactly what needs to be done faster and get it completed in a more efficient manner. We also have, photo documentation is going to reduce the warranty and the litigation exposure. You're going to have that proof that you were out on site. You're going to have that proof of when the photo was taken. FotoIN embeds all of that data into the photo so that the date and timestamp is in there, and it can be used for any of the litigation purposes. And if you think about photo documentation as an end-to-end process, you have the capture. Someone is out there capturing those photos, capturing that information, they're reporting, they're using the tools out there. They're going to take those photos and add tags so that all that information is in one spot. You then have the filing. Those photos are processing. They're getting transferred to the storage provider. They're organizing into the filing hierarchy that you set, and the photos are naming so that you can find them more easily. And after processing, you have using those actual photos that you've captured and that you've processed, going back and finding them, retrieving them for reports, retrieving them for litigation purposes, retrieving them to show the owner, the progress of the project that you're working on. And just having the ability to share those photos is so important. So the process for photo documentation is going to encompass every aspect of a business. It's going to encompass, capturing, it's going to encompass processing, and it's going to have all that action that comes with the photos that you capture and that you file. Use photo documentation as a way to manage risk in construction as well. So for safety compliance, you're going to have certain aspects of the safety and compliance. You're going to have static versus dynamic. You're going to have rules-driven versus behavioral education. These photos can be used to show good behavior and to how to prevent risks on site, to prevent, driving those costs for injuries, driving those costs for damages. Photo documentation is going to help show everyone how photo documentation is important to risk management. You're going to be able to use these photos within your organization, but also individually. You're going to be able to use photo documentation with quality control. You're going to avoid reworking. So these photos will show exactly what's been done so that someone doesn't come and get confused and try to do the same thing as you, or they're not going to come and try to overrule the work that you've done. You're going to have these photos, you're going to be able to show them that it was completed, and it's going to also save you time on that job site. It's going to help resolve disputes. So like I said, the information embedded within the photo, the date and the timestamp with FotoIN, you're going to have that to use in any sort of legal disputes, and you're going to be able to have that as actual evidence and proof from the job site that you were on. And also for warranties and for insurance and audits and legals as well. You're going to have several ways to manage those risks construction with photo documentation and with FotoIN. And it's key considerations to take into to think about when you're using photo documentation and the strategy that you want to implement. Why do you want to use photo documentation? You want to use it so that you have something to show people and something that's going to be more effective when conveying your message, whether it's quality control, whether it's to point out a risk that needs to be addressed, whether you're going to point out something was completed in legal disputes. You're going to need to know these objectives are important when you're considering your photo documentation. It's also important to consider who is going to be impacted. You're going to have the owners. You're going to have other people working around you. Just like I was saying, you don't want to have to rework something because there's confusion. You're going to have those photos so that it saves everyone time, not just yourself, but the others around you. And it's going to keep you accountable. It's going to keep you responsible. Education, like I was saying, you're going to have these photos to show great behavior. You can have photos to show what not to do. You're going to be able to use these later on and retrieve them to really provide an effective photo documentation process, but also just an effective organizational process as well. You're going to be able to use these as feedback loop. You can go back and view these photos to discuss with others, and you're going to be able to use them for several different options within your organization, such as change management and executive sponsorship. And it's also important to consider the technology. So FotoIN is great because it is applicable with all of your mobile devices. You have that storage provider, and you can use it on the desktop as well. We have the web portal access and that piece to our solution that really makes it complete and it allows for that end-to-end photo documentation process to take place. So the benefits, again, to just go over photo documentation, it's for safety. You're going to have better control and you're going to have better compliance. You're going to be able to reduce those risks, save you those costs from building up. You're going to keep everyone accountable. That educational aspect of, showing everyone how to perform every job safely on the job site and avoiding those costs. Like I said, quality control. You're going to have these photos and they're going to be syncing real time from the app to the storage provider to the web portal, and you're going to have faster collaboration, which is going to reduce the number. It's going to reduce the number of reworks. It's going to reduce the number of confusion. It's going to allow for a more effective process when it comes to being on the job site and with photo documentation. It's going to save you time. It's going to save you days even over the months when you're using that photo documentation process, so you don't have to go back. That retrieval process is so easy. When you search with all of the data embedded in the photo, you're going to find those photos easily, and it's going to make you more productive, and it's going to save you time. And also the legal aspect. It's going to help resolve those disputes faster. You're going to have easier audits. Claim processing is going to be faster, and it will reduce those penalties and the costs associated as well. So just some key takeaways to wrap up the session. Risk management, a very important aspect of construction. It needs to be managed across the organization. Executive leadership is key. You want someone that's going to be able to implement this photo documentation process within risk management so that everyone is in compliance and everyone is on the same page. Photo documentation is going to be important because it's going to help provide that extra communication. It's going to make everything more fluid. Everything's going to be syncing and everything's going to be transparent so that everyone will know what is going on, and it will keep everyone accountable. You'll have the visual evidence. You'll be able to reduce costs. And photo documentation will be a more holistic approach, and the users will be the important people out there. They will be the ones capturing the information and sharing it with everyone so that projects are done safely, they're done faster, and they're done to a higher standard. And that is the end of our session about photo documentation and FotoIN and risk management in construction. I will leave the floor open for any questions that you have about the presentation. If you have any questions about FotoIN, I will stay on for a few more minutes. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining in today, and I will see you guys next week at the next Building Success Forum. Have a great day.